Hi, I'm Kelly from Etc. Design and Marketing, helping you make your business stylish and smart. I'm so excited to bring you this video today. A good friend of mine, Jamie Dubose, and I decided to let you eavesdrop on our conversation. She and I are both online marketing professionals, and we thought it would be a great idea to just talk about online marketing in 2017 and some of the things we see, the trends, the difficulties, and ways that we can help our clients. And we thought it might be fun for you to get that insider perspective. Jamie and I are both Ambition Ally certified partners. We help people create membership websites using the Access Ally membership software. So enjoy your fly on the wall perspective of our conversation and join in the conversation below. We'd love to hear from you and what you think. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel and follow Jamie online. All of our information will be in the description below. I hope you enjoy. Let's get to it.
My name is Jamie Dubose. I am the CEO and founder of SimplicityNow.com, and I help profitable entrepreneurs make strategic marketing decisions that consistently improve their business and increase their sales. And really my expertise in all of this lies in creating targeted, high-performing campaigns that really dive into the behavior-based metrics so that my clients can sell more units and actually speak to a more engaged audience. So Kelly, do you want to share a little bit about?
Awesome, Jamie. I love listening to hear what you do. I'm Kelly Garrett, and I have a company called Etc. Design and Marketing, and we are kind of masters at helping people figure out how to tie all of the pieces of their marketing together. So the strategy of things, coming up with a good strategy, and then figuring out, well, what tech tools do I need for that? And how can I make this design look really pretty and beautiful or effective? It doesn't always have to be, beautiful, like feminine style, but just connecting all those pieces together. And we really excel at kind of being, I don't know, I hate using like the Swiss Army knife or like ninja terms, but that's kind of what we do. We just kind of get all the pieces together and going. So yeah, so this is so exciting, Jamie. Yeah. We've been planning this for a while.
Yeah, so basically we just wanted to sit down and have a conversation. There's been kind of floating around some conversations that we thought would be really useful, especially as, the online community when it comes to marketing and marketing automation and strategy is constantly shifting. And there's a lot of buzzwords going around that I think won't make a lot of sense to people if you just hear them. But Kelly and I wanted to kind of talk about, dive deeper into these conversations. And we thought it'd be fun to share what we're saying.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And kind of breaking down some of the myths too, because I think there's a lot of things happening online that give a perception of what you need to do or what it's like to be in online marketing. And it's just not always a very clear picture of what real people and real businesses are doing. There's a lot of, I don't know, glamour, I guess. I kind of think of it like Hollywood. There's a lot of glamour and things that look nice, but on the back end of what's actually happening behind the scenes aren't quite the same.
Yeah, and I think there's a really big misconception when it comes to how complicated these actual funnels really are. And I know I see smaller business owners who still have the same vision and want to achieve goals that not necessarily from a revenue perspective, but to have a launch that builds in certain marketing components that they don't think are actually possible for them because they're too small of a business or they're not there yet like the big time people are. And I would really kind of like to start there. I think along the Hollywood example is a perfect example. So when we think about funnels and launching and all of those different buzzwords that we hear, it can kind of be really intimidating, especially, again, when it's translated from the big time higher performing marketers that are out there right now. Kelly, how have you noticed this affecting small business owners, and kind of what do you think we should be telling them, the They
Yeah.
want to get started.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Like, the experience that I have with people is that they come and they really think like, oh, well, so and so says that it's so easy and all I have to do is this, snap my fingers, and I'm going to have this 6-figure launch and everything's going to be fantastic and awesome. And it really is so much more complex than that. And it doesn't have to be complicated. And I think people overcomplicate it for themselves sometimes, but there really are a lot of moving pieces that have to be synchronized. And so that's kind of what I end up telling a lot of people is that, look, there's just a bunch of moving parts. And, you know, you doing this for the first time or just simply following the step-by-step that you get from a big name person who's giving you kind of an overall playbook or a roadmap for something, there's so many more pieces behind the scenes and that are not included in that big overview that you really have to kind of just have an understanding of how it all works together and how everything is orchestrated to come out with results.
Yes, I totally agree. And, you know, I can kind of, because my, you know, expertise is kind of on the sales and marketing funnels specifically, I see this a lot. People thinking, actually, my people don't see, they just don't see that there's all the moving pieces, but they expect those moving pieces to be like already kind of there or whatever. And what they don't realize is you don't get to a 6 or 7 figure launch necessarily your first time, and that's okay. And I also notice a trend with the whole blueprint thing. This is something I could kind of rant on first.
Go for it.
Like your business is not a blueprint, and neither is your launch. And I can see where those things are helpful, and they are, like, they do serve a purpose, and they, you know, serve a very specific market. But all of the business owners that I like to work with have a unique perspective, especially when it comes to not only their messaging and their branding, but on their marketing itself. And what works for a lot of people, sometimes we have to tweak and make customized for their business. That doesn't mean that we're not following any type of, you know, pattern, but there's still room for creativity, and there's still room for doing things their way. And especially with the complication aspect of it, like, understand kind of the bigger picture behind all of the moving pieces, and then they won't seem so kind of scary almost. Does that make sense? Like, do you?
Yeah, absolutely. And like, I was talking to a prospective client yesterday about kind of that exact thing, that it's like, just because somebody says you need to post to Facebook 3 times in this order and at these times of day, well, that's what worked for them, and that's great. And you might get the same results, but you know, so that's a starting point. Start there and take their suggestions, but then you have to have, again, the understanding of the bigger picture and what's happening to be able to take that as a starting point and customize it for your business, because your business is a living, breathing organization. Like, it's not, no 2 businesses are alike 100%, because no 2 people are alike 100%, and business is people. So you have to like be able to take things and understand, well, this is generally speaking how it works, and human psychology is this way, and people are generally going to react to this type of thing in this way, but your business is different than their business, and you have to be able to adapt.
Mm-hmm. How do you approach that with your clients when they come to you and they want to do all the things? Like, how do you prioritize that for them?
I usually stop and say, what's your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? Let's focus on one thing and accomplish that. And then the pieces, the bells and whistles, all the other things can add in, because I think people And I think entrepreneurs, we're all guilty of this. We have this ability to come up with these grand ideas and we jump immediately to the end, the finished product or what the result looks like. Oh, okay, and it's going to do this and it's going to have, all these things and they're going to be so cool and people are going to love it. So we see the end result very quickly, and we're able to kind of see where we're at right now, which is like, I either don't have any of this in place or I have some of this in place. But we're not very good at like seeing the middle and seeing how do we get from the beginning to the end.
And coincidentally, the middle of the funnel is where I see people screwing up all the time too. Like they just don't understand the power of like that part of their funnel. And, I don't really understand why, because it is really where everything happens. And I can't tell you how many times I've seen, people making the mistake of, okay, well, I'm just going to put a whole bunch of money in the top of the funnel, right? Or which for those, who may not, the thing that I'm talking about there is like paid advertising, Facebook ad, lead, like I'm going to spend a whole bunch of money on bringing new eyeballs onto my site or, into my mailing list. And then I'm just going to have a better conversion. I'm going to sell more because I'm doing that one thing. It's the middle the magic is in the middle. Yeah. And the same is true with, again, like the bigger picture that you were just talking about, like, yay for seeing the goal, yay for having the vision in the first place, but be really aware of the energy you need to put in the middle of that whole equation.
Absolutely. And Jamie, I have seen you online recently talking a lot about the middle of the funnel. And so please expand on that. What should people do? Say I'm running my business and I need to just have a burst of income, or I need to do something to promote something. How can I work in the middle of the funnel?
Yeah, that's a super good question.
I love that you're talking about that, because that's key.
Thank you. Yeah. Well, the whole idea kind of came from me seeing, clients would come to me not putting forth the effort in nurturing their subscribers, even pre-launch. Because, I do a lot of like launch related funnels, but like long-term nurture, engaging with their subscribers outside of like a regular newsletter. And, all of those things are important, but we're talking about looking at their actual behavior patterns and how they're engaging, not just me making the effort to send them a newsletter. So when I say the magic is in the middle, I'm really referring to the conversation that's happening in those sequences, and also paying attention and tracking metrics that will show me exactly not only what they're doing, but how effective everything else was. And by everything else, I mean the length of that, email sequence for the video series that we were promoting. Here's a really good example. If we had a client that had a video series that was about 5-ish days or videos long, and because we were tracking engagement and clicks, and this was, we were actually even going a step further and using Wistia stats and whatnot, but we noticed that, engagement's great, like video 1, video 2, and then by video 3, 4, and 5, it is like, there is a sharp drop off of that, engagement. Wow. So one of the things first of all, we were able to say, okay, well, maybe because we're tracking and we're seeing this, let's autoplay the videos and see if that makes a difference. Yeah. Then post-launch, we were able to see, okay, your engagement dropped off around like video 3. Why don't we like kind of condense or move up the pitch in the video series? Or, let's try to get the actual product in front of them sooner rather than later, because we know that they're paying attention towards the first part of this particular funnel.
Right.
And again, like being able to make tiny tweaks in the actual like bigger picture of the launch is huge, right? It takes away the whole like launching on a prayer thing and just hoping that it works out, and replaces it with, okay, these are the milestones. These are the things that I'm going to be looking for. And here's my plan for pivoting. And, that's where the money's at. That's how you can squeeze out, and I say that so lovingly, like squeeze out more buyers, right? If you're paying attention to their actual the way that they're engaging, and able to speak to them directly. So
right.
it makes a big difference. We could talk about that all day, but
yeah, well, and the analytics though are key. And I feel like so many people come with a plan to launch something and they just want to get there. They just want to get to the launch.
Mm-hmm.
But you've got to have time to be able to test, do something and test it and then make tweaks to it and know that the first, I tell people, plan for the first time to be a failure and don't give up. I see so many people that do something once. They send out one email or two emails and they get crickets and they're like, oh, I just have to
bad idea, like
strategy, and it's like, oh no, that very first time is just your like test run. That's your chance to get some data. Mm-hmm. And then take the data and do it again and make changes. And I think, I don't know why people have that mindset. I don't know where that comes from, because I find myself doing that too.
Yeah, I don't either. And I don't know if it's just because the numbers aren't like the sexy part of launching, or if they just seem, or we could just be like super huge nerds.
There's that. Yeah.
There's that possibility. But yeah, it gets overlooked so much. And maybe it comes from them, again, kind of only focusing on like that end result is what they see. So their brain isn't trained to, be paying attention, right, during the entire process.
Right. Well, and it's like training for a marathon. You can't, you got to have endurance. You have to be able to have the endurance to see it out, because it's not a one-time thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm curious about this, because you're doing a lot of really innovative stuff these days with your concepts and your strategies. And what are some of the like big needle movers that you've been kind of wanting to pay attention to, or kind of, this is going to be something to watch out for?
Gosh. I am so excited that you're asking me about this. So I am working on a program right now with Andrew Warner of Mixergy, and he has done a lot of extensive research with Facebook messaging bots. And so about a year ago, maybe, Facebook has a conference they call F8, and it's kind of their what's new in Facebook world, once a year, to kind of talk about the upcoming year and the things that they're launching. And they have really put a lot of effort and emphasis on their artificial intelligence bot programming. And so you can basically use a robot or a messaging bot that works inside of Facebook Messenger to interact with people much like you do your email list. You can set up automations and sequences, and they go right to Messenger, and you can tag people and segment them based on how they're interacting, how they're responding. And we are just scratching the surface of the things that can be done with it. And what Andrew Warner has found is that a lot of people that are using bots in a business setting are using them as a service-based bot. So something where you type in, what are your hours of operation? And it comes back with, we're open from 8 to 5. And they're really not using it very well from a marketing perspective. They're more like just, push types of things. Let me push out my
transactional versus conversational.
Yeah, exactly. So I am kind of working on an endeavor with him to kind of get messaging bots into the marketing world and really just show marketers what we can do with them. And I am so excited. I just launched my own bot on our website like a day ago, and so it's fun. I mean, if you want to go and check it out, I'll put the link to my website, and it's right in the header, so you can just click on it and subscribe. And the cool thing is that the data about messaging is phenomenal. So email open rates are 20 to 30%. That's considered a good rate. Messaging, like in any type of messaging, text messaging, Facebook
SMS, I've got stuff to say on that.
yes. Open rates are like 98%. I can't remember the exact number, but they're in the 90s, 90%. And most people open within 3 minutes or 3 seconds of receiving.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. And
That's
response
insane.
rates are just off the chart. So yeah, so kind of going back to your middle of the funnel thing, the way I see this tying in is that it's a way to just personalize it, because I think top of the funnel stuff, I mean, yeah, there are things you can do to personalize it, and we try as much as we can to like squeeze every ounce of personalization in there. But the thing that I think messaging bots does is it takes that to the next level and really helps you just like, you know, target people who are going to be hot leads and are really interested in engaging with you so much faster and so much easier than any other technology that we've had so far. So I am so excited about that, and I can't wait to like get bots into the hands of as many people as possible.
Oh my gosh, I love this for so many reasons. Yeah, first of all, if you're tracking and if you are tagging those people in the middle of your funnel, bots aside, then you'll know exactly based on their behavior who would be prime, like, and ready to receive that and like have that even closer connection with you. And another thing that I love about this is it's totally like taking a misconception and like making it positive. Like I don't know about you, but when I first hear the word bot, it's instant like negative, right? Like there's this negative, you know, oh, those are bad for you. Those are bad. Like it's a bad thing.
Right.
And this is like a completely different spin on that, how to take that technology and use it for a positive purpose and for, you know, connecting with your audience, not just spamming, you know, and all the bad things that bots do.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's the whole point of it, is that if you do start to use those sort of black hat techniques and start just pushing stuff to people, they're gonna unsubscribe. You know, this is so intimate. This is your phone that you have with you all the time, and so marketers have to be smart and use it correctly.
Yeah,
they're gonna scare off people.
Exactly, and that's where the whole SMS thing. I know, actually. So I see there's a very polarizing like opinion about SMS and whether or not you should use it. Now, I know I have certain friends that are like, I am not giving my number to anybody. I am like, not, like, that is my, just like you said, that is my like private like thing. And then I have literally seen when marketers are using like those interpersonal connections like SMS broadcasts and SMS conversations, it has made a tremendous, like, it's been tremendous for their numbers, especially when we look at things like webinar attendance. If you ask people, you know, can I send you text reminders about the webinar, or, you know, whatever it is that you're doing? Yeah, sure. Okay. 15 minutes. They're not checking their email before that webinar. They're on their phone, right? So if they see a text message, oh yeah, we've actually seen this increase like up to 40% attendance rates, like increase from the average rate for different clients.
Awesome.
And it's like, it really does make a difference, that personal connection. When you take that out of email and you put that into the places where people are actually spending their time. Facebook, how often, like, what are the stats on how many times a day people check Facebook?
Right.
Your phone, like, it's amazing. And you're right. Like, once we start implementing these black hat things, like, that's what people are doing now. Like, it is going from, it's not just about email anymore. And I also think it's not just about launching anymore, or like doing these things during a launch. Again, zooming out, looking at the bigger picture, continue the conversation after the launch or before the next one, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And just real quick, going back to like SMS, that's where I see Facebook doing it so much more eloquently, because you don't have to, like, everybody's logged into Facebook everywhere, right? You don't have to enter your phone number. You don't have to give that piece of information away. You are just simply clicking a button that says, yep, connect me to Facebook. Like, go ahead and use Facebook. And it just feels much more less invasive than SMS. So I see that becoming much more wildly popular than SMS ever. SMS to me kind of feels like the like Betamax of the like more intimate connection. Like, it had its time, and it still might, But I think Facebook Messenger with chatbots are just going to override that.
That'll be fun to watch. Like, please, everybody keep an eye on, that and
definitely
pay attention.
Definitely. So we could talk about that I could talk about bots all day, but let's kind of stick to.
Let's see. This is going to be a fun one too, because I think it's super important. Especially, we've talked about, there's a lot of things you need to be thinking about. There's a lot of like things in the middle of the funnel, like, and it might sound a bit kind of overwhelming to some people. And I just want to say, like, it doesn't have to be, like, breathe a sigh of relief. It doesn't have to be like that. So along those lines, like, how do you help your clients figure out what tech pieces that they should be using, and how do you kind of gel all of that together for them?
Yeah, well, and I mean, you run into this too with your clients. It's everybody. I think I've always said that people tend to silo tech and strategy.
I don't know why.
I know. And I think it's just human nature. I think tech is something that people tend to be afraid of. And I think we can sometimes, those of us in the tech world, don't have great bedside manner, and that we don't do a good job of communicating to people like how it works in regular human terms. Like, we talk over people sometimes. And I think that it's okay to be afraid of technology. It's okay to not have to know everything. Like, that's what tech people are for. But it just means you have to be invested in finding someone you trust to work with, and being willing to try to understand the concept of how things work. You don't have to know how to program. You don't have to know a line of code or anything, but take responsibility in trying to just understand the big picture, and then find someone who you trust and really rely on them to kind of get you where you need to go. That doesn't really answer your question.
But that's even better, actually. I think that is an even more important point, because the answer is, it's not about the tech pieces. It's about what you ultimately want to achieve and what you're going to do in the bigger picture.
Absolutely.
And that is like talking about why people always think of me last. Like, I'm like, oh, I actually need to like be paying attention to like the email marketing side and like what we're doing. Like, there are actual tech pieces involved too, with, that website designer and developer, making sure that those opt-ins are going to come into the right place, and all of that different stuff. And this is also why I love it when people understand the importance of not just like, give yourself space and time to map all of these things out. Because when somebody comes to me and they want to, we have this big launch and they have all of this stuff going on, and I ask them, okay, so when is your launch date? And they're like, oh, it's in 4 weeks. And I'm like, oh, like, I don't want to operate in that like crunch time mode, because their mind is already made up on what they think that they're doing. And it's a lot harder to kind of get them to see the value and importance of the right components and the right technical like aspects.
And when you're operating in like crunch mode, last minute mode, you're focusing on the tech. You're focusing, how do I, this email that doesn't look right, how can I fix that? And you completely go by the wayside
of the bigger launch strategy. Yeah, exactly. And I love too, like what you were saying about just let an expert, like find somebody that you trust that knows what they're doing and that knows what they're talking about, and let them do it. And that's like one of my favorite things, because that's why I offer like the strategy and implementation, like the whole launch thing. Like, we're not just writing out, this is what your pre-card is, your pre-launch. Like, we're not just putting those things on a piece of paper. We're actually going deeper and saying like, okay, if we want to do this is what we need in terms of like tech to accomplish it. And I also sometimes it's easy and sometimes it's hard to make people understand that you don't need the biggest and baddest, like most fancy bells and whistles technology to make this work. And that is a misconception that I just want to like stop right now.
Right. Yes. Yes,
Because
definitely.
I think that that also kind of goes back to the first thing that we talked about with like, I can't do this because I'm not using Infusionsoft or Entreport or, you know, any of these big things. So I can't segment my people. I can't tag and pay attention to sales page clickers and send to them.
Mm-hmm.
And I love it when people take time pre-launch. Like 8 to 12 weeks may sound like a long time pre, but it's not.
Right.
And your vendors or your, like, the people on your team will thank you for being cognizant of that, because then everything else falls into place a lot more easily than, hey, I've got this idea and oh yeah, I guess I need some, like, we'll just figure out the tech later. Like,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah. And that piece about too, like not needing the biggest and best out there. I mean, that goes back to the idea of your business is unique, and just because someone else says you must have Infusionsoft, you must have all the fancy tools, that may not be the case for you. And I always propose it to people. I always give them the trade-offs. You know, you'll trade, well, sure, this is a system that's seamless and it's going to have all these bells and whistles, but you're not going to use half the bells and whistles right away, and it's going to be that much more expensive. Why not start with something and grow into it, or vice versa, depending on where someone's at. You know, you're going to be changing and growing a lot quickly.
The flex, the
so
flex, and
you need something that's going to be able to grow with you. So
yeah,
that's an individual business by business decision.
and I think you will know that too. Or if you don't, like, talk to somebody who's had experience working with different clients and different, like, I know both of us have done projects that have had minimal tech and still seeing great results, and a lot of tech,
Yes.
and also seeing great results. And I do not want to say, because I'm a partner, you know, with Infusionsoft and a lot of the other, I don't want to push somebody at all. First of all, I don't want to like convince them that they need a tool that they don't really need.
Right.
But sometimes I'm glad that you mentioned that. Like, I don't think every Infusionsoft owner should go run and change, like, go away from that, or any active campaign, you know, user running over to Infusionsoft. But I think it is, to your point, like, be aware of your bigger goals, your bigger visions, and have the flexibility on either side of the spectrum to pivot also in the tech direction that you think will best serve you.
Totally agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ooh, that was juicy. I like that.
Yeah. So Jamie, I feel like you've been asking me a lot of questions. So what's hottest for you? I mean, I know we've talked a lot about things. What's going on in your world?
Yeah. So for me, I think it all comes down to knowing that the secret sauce, or the magic of the middle of the funnel. And I see a huge need for business owners who, again, they've launched before. They know what they're doing or what they want to do, but they just don't know how all the components come together, or, you know, how do I start tracking this and that and the other. And so for me, it is a shift that's happening. I love my private clients, and I want to continue like helping people on an individual basis. But I am launching more and more opportunities for people who are not at that level, or, you know, able to work with me in that capacity, to still get that like knowledge and, you know, consulting and information. I don't want to say training, because it's way more than just like, you know, here's your cookbook, now go learn how to cook. Like, it's more of an interactive experience.
Yeah.
So just recently we did launch my first sales funnel boot camp, which was great because it was the first time that I've ever tried to distill down, like, this is what I do for, you know, big launches and all of this great stuff. And this is how somebody who's never even launched before or launching a new thing can actually like do these big, you know, big things. And it was so much fun because one of the participants told me after the thing, she's like, Jamie, we knew that we needed to do these things, but they seemed so overwhelming, and you completely made this possible for us.
Oh, nice.
And I was just like, oh my gosh, like, I'm so glad to hear that, because that's what it's all about. It is possible when you're doing it, you know, when you're doing it at all, and when you're doing it with, you know, this strategy in place. So I'm really excited about that, because again, I think part of the fear comes from not being able to be in the space to afford somebody to do it for you, but still wanting to, you know, take pride in your launch. And this is a way to kind of bridge that gap and to kind of offer people like a done with you thing. So for me and my business, it's going to be really interesting to see how everything kind of shifts more towards that. And, yeah, because again, I think it is the secret sauce, focusing on the middle of the funnel, so that those Facebook ad dollars and all of that other investment that you're putting in will actually like convert on the other end, and not just in the form of buyers, but like, again, as a business, you can be more profitable as a business. And so yeah, so I'm pretty stoked.
I've been watching you, you know, build that from way back when it was an idea to now that you've launched it. And Jamie, that, I mean, the value in that is awesome. I think you are providing such a huge value to people. So definitely, if you need kind of an experience doing that, you know, with a little less, you know, hands-on and done for you kind of stuff, I think that's a great option.
Thank you. Yeah. And I think that, again, like the idea, and I think like we've talked about this before too, even just in, okay, I feel like I have to have a course or have clients, you know, like there is no in between. And this is,
yeah. And I think the online marketing world, I think, again, I like using silos, but I think we silo ourselves. We say, I've got to be an online marketer. And so I've got to make courses, and I've got to, you know, one to many, I have to just serve as many people as I can with courses. So that means making them cheap and making them very broad. And it's like, you know what, though? I think that there is more opportunity if you can just break down the walls of like where you should be. Yeah, there's opportunity in online marketing, but there's opportunity at your local chamber of commerce. There's opportunity, you know, when you drive down the street and see local businesses that are brick and mortar. They might not understand half the terms that we're using in online marketing, but that doesn't mean they don't need our help. And that doesn't mean, you know, so yeah, if you're trying to just strictly build yourself a little niche in the online marketing world, it's going to be an uphill battle. And so that's where you have to get creative and use, you know, other opportunities.
Yeah. And I love that, because you did some, like, you have some local, like, things that you do. You focus on local stuff too. And I think that, like, I would like to hear just like a second about how that's been for you, and like what the differences are that you see, because I've done zero local work. It's funny, like, actually, when I lived in the DC area, it seemed like all of my clients were in the DC area. And then I moved, and now I have like LA and San Diego, but I don't have any like local experience. Like, what do you...
I mean, it's interesting. I think there'll be a shift back to that a little bit as this online marketing bubble kind of starts to burst a little bit, because I think that it's saturated online. And my experience with local is that, just like with anything, you get out of it what you put into it. So the more effort and energy I put into local networking and just reaching out to the people in the community, the more I get out of it, the more leads I get, the more projects I get. And it's a different beast, definitely. So the way that I have clients that are local versus clients across the world is different. They want more in-person meetings, and it changes the day-to-day a little bit. But the thing I keep telling myself and them is marketing is never going to change. Marketing, no matter how you slice it, is psychology. It's learning how people make decisions and communicating to them in a way that's going to help them make a good decision about doing business with you. that's not going to change no matter where we're marketing, you know, if we're, I don't know, sending messages in outer space off of satellites in 20 years. So I guess we're kind of doing that now, but, so, you know, so really you can adapt it for anything.
Yeah. So I know we were like trying to watch our time here. We seriously might have to do these. Like,
yes, I know.
But I want to, you just said like when the online marketing bubble bursts, so if that happens, and again, not saying that it's gonna but as we know, things change, things evolve. What do you think people should do, like business owners should do or be doing to protect themselves or to be prepared for other changes?
Yeah, so I'm going to use your term, middle of the funnel marketing. That's where you build personal relationships, and that's the relationship is going to be the thing that exists when the bubble bursts. And we're still going to be communicating over Skype. You're still going to be in San Diego. I'm still going to be in Minneapolis. You know, the technology is not going away, but the way the relationships have to just become more intimate. And I think that's a focus that if people remember that, I don't think you can go wrong. Mm-hmm. What do you think? What are your thoughts on that question?
Yes. I don't care how many emails you send your subscribers. It's not about the email. It is about the conversation, and it is about the connection and continuing that conversation outside of launching or outside of, you know, new services being offered. Because at the end of the day, that's what people are going to remember your brand for, how you communicated with them and how much you paid attention. And if entrepreneurs, you know, business owners are tracking and paying attention on the back end of, you know, their Infusionsoft or whatever they're using, then they'll be so much more well equipped for a longer game. Like they'll be able to play a longer game and to continue that personal conversation once everybody stops checking their email.
Yeah.
Which kind of has already happened slightly. So I think that's why we're talking about bots and SMS and all these other things, right? Like,
right. Absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So yeah, I mean, along those lines, we definitely wanted to keep this brief and in a bite-sized chunk, but I think that there's so much we could talk about, Jamie, and I want to hear what our audience has to say. Like, I want to hear what people listening into our conversation think and their ideas and what they see out there and what they are doing. So let's encourage everybody to comment and keep the conversation going, and maybe let's have a follow-up. Let's do a version 2 or another chat.
I think that's a great idea. So tell us where we can find you, Kelly.
Yes. Probably my website's the easiest. It's etc.com. It's spelled goofy, EKCETERA.com, but I'll include a link anywhere we post this.
Cool. What's your favorite social media channel?
You know, I'm all over the place. I think YouTube has been my favorite lately. I'm trying to do more video and definitely stay up way too late, too many nights watching everybody's YouTube feeds. But
the black hole, right?
Right. Yes. But Facebook too. So many clients are on Facebook. I'm on Facebook all the time. I think that's one of the easiest ways to get in touch with people. So I'll be there. My bot will be there.
Cool. And
how about you?
Yeah. So you can find me over at zenplicity.now.com, and it's spelled kind of funky too. Z as in zebra, ENPLICITY now.com. And in terms of social, I'm like you. I'm on Facebook all the time. Facebook.com/Zenplicity. But I've also been on Instagram quite a bit too. And I love that because of that personal connection. Like I am not one of those people that wants to use Instagram like specifically for like marketing my stuff, but I like to give people an inside look at what my life is actually like. I mean, this is my house.
Right. Yeah. Same here.
Actually, like what a day in the life looks like.
There might be a toddler running around for both of us, right?
Or kids or whatever, but That's what makes it all the more entertaining.
Yes.
And that is at Jamie Dubose. So we'll post links and all that stuff. But yeah, like, please, like, reach out to me, reach out to Kelly. Even if you have a contradicting, like a different opinion, because I'm curious to hear that too. Like, you know, we're not saying all this because it's the right way or the right, you know, thing to do. This is just our thoughts and opinions and conversation and, you know, professional, like, assessment of the online marketing, like, landscape on, you know, in 2017. Yeah.
Yeah, just from two people who live and breathe this stuff, and, you know, we do it all day, and we're real. We're not, you know, our audiences aren't huge. We're not out there making millions of dollars doing this, and so we have a good feel. Right, yet. We have a good feel for what, you know, those other people that are at the same place or trying to grow.
Been there. Like, we have been there. Yeah.
Definitely. Well, awesome, Jamie. This was so much fun.
Thank you.
Can't wait to do it again.
Yeah. So be on the lookout for to be continued, because this was, we weren't even planning on doing more than one of these also.
Right.
Like, this sounds like a great idea. Why don't we do this? And I think it'll be fun. So let us hear from you, and we'll talk to you soon.
Awesome. Bye.